Dagdi Agus Falcha. Hi, hello, and welcome. It's John O'Sullivan from the Irish Pagan School. And today I have a bit of a rant about perspective and entitlement. So before we dive into that, thank you very, very much for those of you who are part of our channel, who turn up and join us regularly with the comments and the likes and the subscribes, especially those who have hit the bell for notification. It's great to know that, you're interested and passionate about being notified as soon as a video drops from myself or Laura here at the Irish Pagan School. So yeah, perspective and entitlement. Everyone has rants. Everyone has those things that kind of grind their gears or get on their nerves and stuff like that. And one thing that really gets on my nerves is how many people feel entitled to comment upon my physical form, my appearance in my videos, or my spiritual well-being, and to kind of force unsolicited comments of their own spirituality and practices on me by giving me advice from their messages and their deities. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't happen to me. That doesn't happen to me at all. That actually happens to Laura. And this is what I'm talking about, perspective and entitlement. Because, hey, look at me. I'm a middle-aged, white, heterosexual, cis man. Wait, am I getting my definitions right? Doesn't fucking matter. That's how I'm perceived. And so people don't pass remark upon my physical form. I don't have to, apply makeup or make sure I've shaved, or, I do kind of take a lot of pride in my personal appearance, but, I don't have people commenting on that. No one is saying, oh, you'd look better in your videos if you'd smile. Oh, you should smile more. Like, it'd be great for your, your persona or your kind of, like presentations if you were to engage people more by smiling. That really fucking pisses me off. And I'm pissed off, not just on my account, but on every female presenting and perceived person out there in fucking existence who are held accountable to the perceptions and the idealized, sexualized fantasies of fucking men. And then who kind of feel pressured and who pressure each other. And there is this whole culture of, you won't be heard as a female presenting person unless you are physically attractive or physically appealing. Now, again, people like to look the way they want to look. And I fully support that and I respect that. So if you want to put on makeup, do. If you don't want to put makeup, don't. Like, it is down to how you choose to present yourself. And we should have a lot of fucking respect for that, no matter what way they want to present themselves. Interesting one on this. During the run-up to the referendums on the abortion rights, repealing the Eighth Amendment to the Constitution of Ireland, which was, I believe, incorrectly put in place, which kind of made it illegal for female presenting people to engage in a medical practice to secure and save their lives. And it was a fucking bad choice when it was made, and was great to get it repealed. One of my kind of siblings, very vocal activist and very informed activist on it, Janet, was speaking across the country, talking about the impact and the harm that amendment had actually done, and why repealing the eighth was very important. And it was fucking horrific how much bullshit Janet had to climb over about Janet's physical appearance. And how many times, like, guys sliding into the comments going, yeah, I just, don't think, she has a lot to say, based on how she looks. And I was like, really? And someone was like, yeah, no, it's a scientific study that says people who are more like physically appealing are more likely to get more votes. And I actually went and I was like, okay, so show me this scientific study, because I could, because I had the energy and the availability to do that, because any female presenting person questioning or calling out the resources would be shut down or told to, as what happened to one of my other siblings, calm your tits. And so, I was like, no, show me this resources. And no, what the person eventually pulled out was this study, scientific study, sure, which was about how in an uninformed election where people had no clue what was going on, they would steer towards those who they perceived to be more conservative by their attire, by how well off they were in able to get professional headshots and photography and whatever. And so they would believe that this conservative person was wealthy and rich and would want to keep the status quo going. Whether or not they actually were conservative or not, they would just judge it based on the photographs that were presented, the imagery that was presented to him. And so it was this kind of thing of like, hey, yeah, you know the part at the start of that study where it says in an uninformed election? And so it was fucking atypical to me to show how entitled people are to pass comment on other people's physical appearance. And it really annoys the fuck out of me. No one tells me that I should get a haircut. Oh, you know, John, you know, you'd have a better impact on, you know, your social media space if you shaved more, or if you changed your t-shirt more often. Oh no, you should get the lighting like adjusted better because, you know, it makes your skin look all faded, washed out, or red and blotchy. That's only a part of it. I don't fucking get that, but Laura does. Female presenting people all around the world are held accountable, are held to some fucking ridiculous image expectation that has been shoved upon humanity by, you know, patriarchal marketing a long time ago. This concept of sex sells. And it is harmful. Significantly harmful. The amount of mental health damage that is done to people all around the world, the amount of, you know, unrealistic beauty standards that are then placed upon people, the amount of eating disorders that come along from that, and those requirements to fit a norm. The fact that now more and more models and these kind of ideas and expectations of fashion are moving towards this size zero. And like, you know, it's taken us a while to be able to recognize people for their sizes and to accept that everything is beauty. A couple of years ago, the most paid and most like sought after model in the entire world was a teenager, because she hadn't kind of fully hit puberty or hadn't kind of fully developed. And this was the most beautiful and iconic kind of person. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But the problem is, if you start forcing people to have certain expectations or perceptions, then you're changing the way people see each other. And you're forcing the rose tinted glasses. You're forcing this idea on other people. And again, it's disproportionately balanced. Yeah, okay, males are held to certain expectations too, of course, yeah. But nowhere in the same levels, nowhere to the same extent as female presenting people. Look at the marketing. Look at the cost of products. Walk into any kind of space where you can buy, you know, self-care products, beauty products, skincare products. Guys have half a shelf. Women have 4 rows, because they have been subjected to that ideal, and because the culture and the society has put that on. One of the most tragic circumstances I've heard about this from Laura when she visited friends in Tanzania. She went over on a charity kind of way. It was organized by her cousin in Tremor. They raised a whole load of money to hike Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to give donations to a children kind of school over there. And they went over, and Laura went along to document it from a press kind of thing. And it was published in the Munster Journal, I think it was. They kind of the plight and the experience of the people over there, and, you know, head of volunteers made an impact and made a difference. But in talking with a hotel owner there, she got another insight in how this imbalanced beauty standard is adversely affecting the youth of that country, because they're Black people, they're people of color. But the expectation in the tourist trade is that, you know, you need to be able to conform or fit to a beauty standard. And so the amount of effort that people in that country would have to go to straighten out their hair, because that's an expectation. The amount of kind of products, and when she said it to me, I couldn't fucking believe it. And actually, I could believe it, which was worse. It was skin bleaching, because they would need to lighten the color of their skin in order to be accepted in certain tourist trade over there, because they would be engaging with white people when they came in, and they wanted those people to feel comfortable around them. So that's, again, the unrealistic, horrible beauty standard that is placed upon people to conform to this idea of beauty, this Western-centric white person idea of beauty. Now, I'm not above it. You know, I have in the past had a lot of my own kind of programming as a problem. I was subject to it too. And it's taken a lot of effort to me be able to kind of catch myself and say, actually, no, John, you know, you're conforming to that beauty basic paradigm bullshit. And it's wrong and it's harmful. And people get sick and people die over it. And that's the real cost of this horrific expectation of beauty and beauty standards. But that's only part of my rant, because the other part of my rant is the unsolicited fucking spiritual advice that gets inundated on, not me. No one turns around to me and says, my gods and guides and guardians have kind of sent me messages about you and how you need to change your spiritual path, or how, you know, eating organic food will kind of help your spiritual resonance. Absolutely not, but Laura gets it. Oh yeah, no, my, you know, the goddess Morrigan sent me a message to you specifically, as if Laura needs anyone to tell her about her relationship with the fucking goddess Morrigan. Now, this is a matter of perspective, a matter of entitlement. And this non-consensual advice. Yeah, there are times where someone might have a message for me, or someone might have some other experience of the Dagda and might want to share that with me, or might want to invite me into a discussion about that. But that is entirely different to unsolicitedly dumping on someone in a comment section or in an email directly to our Irish Pagan School inbox. One of the worst ones we had recently is a person who describes himself as a, like, self-described ultra-nationalist, who believes that consuming food that is grown in foreign countries is damaging to, you know, the spiritual growth of people in Ireland. We are a fucking planet. We are the one fucking species, the human species, existing in multiple locations on the one fucking planet. Go down far enough and it's the same fucking Earth all the way around. Draw some lines and you'll connect every body of water around this country, around this island, around the world, around, like, you know, the continents. And what divides us, and this divisive behavior is why we have horror stories about what's happening in the world at the moment. It's why people feel entitled to invade other people's country over power. Sorry, but also not sorry. Tafarag Orab, which is the Irish words for saying the anger is on me. And it's right to be angry when other people put harm on other people just for something ridiculous as power or wealth. Now, I should have given a content warning for that mention, and I'm sorry if I've impacted anyone adversely in that regard. Should have been a content warning for mention of war. But anyway, this idea of entitlement, it's the same thing. It starts with one person feeling entitled to that their opinion matters more than someone else's, that what they believe and hold to be true is of more value than anyone else. And then it staggers from there into, well, they don't agree with me, so therefore they're wrong. And because they're wrong, then they're not entitled to basic human rights. They're not entitled to respect. And the moment you start to disrespect someone because you disagree with them, is that stepping stone towards othering. And next thing you know, you have the ancient Irish being referred to as horrific barbarian beasts who need to be either put down or bred out of existence. That's what happened. That's what colonization looked like in our country. We have advanced so many fucking centuries since that, but we're still fucking doing it. Countries disagreeing over things and thinking that they're entitled to then force their opinions on someone else. Or people here thinking they're entitled to force their spiritual opinions on someone else. We don't do that. The Irish Pagan School is not here to tell you how you're doing it wrong. We're here to tell you our way of doing it, which we believe to be right. And we invite you to join us. We would like you to come in, experience our teaching, take the fucking free classes. We invite you to kind of explore more information, to invite you to explore more kind of perspective. Whether you do it or not, it doesn't make a difference to us. We're here to present that information, to put it out there. That is our calling. We value that you do. We appreciate every time we have a positive impact on someone. It makes all of this easier to do. But we're still going to do it because that's our calling. But the imbalanced entitlement of people sliding into messages and telling a female presenting person they should smile. Oh, I've just remembered. I'm going to tell you a story. Sit with me if you want to for a little while longer. I'm going to tell you a story. 2 years ago, just before the pandemic hit, before the first case was announced in Ireland, I was at a wedding. My beloved Laura's cousin was getting married, Michael, young Michael, and he's a legend. I love him. He's dead sound. And so we're at this wedding, and I roaming around, like, meeting the families, kind of spending some time. And I come in, and across the dance hall, I see Laura's having a conversation with someone. And I read Laura's body language very easily. And I'm like, that seems to be an okay conversation, but I think I want to go over and check. So I wander over, and there's this individual kind of talking, and they're having a conversation. And I'm like, hey, just checking. Do you need anything? Do you want to get you a drink or whatever? And she's like, no, it's grand. We're just having a talk. And this female, well, Laura is a tall female presenting person, and this shorter male presenting person, stepped past Laura to greet me, and I was like, hey, how nice to meet you, whatever. And he was a boyfriend of one of the other attendees. And so they had a good conversation. That was the evening of it. The next day, we went out, we were gathering again as the family for, after the wedding, to kind of just have a social evening and chats. And we were sitting there at the table, having arrived in the venue. And this guy comes over, walks across the entire hallway with his phone in his hand, and holds it out to Laura and is like, oh, I just looked up all of your pictures there, and I think you should really smile more. It'd be like really, really better for your presentations and for your teaching. Literally, the guy across the room had gone into Google, image search, Laura O'Brien, pulled up Laura's pictures, and walked across to present it and said, you should smile more. Now, of course, my red flags went up straight away, but, part of my balanced relationship with Laura is that Laura can defend Laura. Laura doesn't need John to defend Laura. And so Laura straight away is like, how fucking dare you think that you can come across here and tell me that I should smile more, or push your ideas or your perspectives on me. And of course, he got shirty. He got like, oh, how rude of you. I was only giving you a compliment, and like, how rude of you. And he storms away. Later on that evening, he comes up to me, knowing I'm Laura's partner. He's like, yeah, listen, she was really rude to me. Really rude. And I can't believe how, I was only given a compliment. And at that point, I had spoken to Laura. We had kind of gone through it all. And she's like, John, I don't want you to overstep. And I was like, no, listen, you were right. You 100% put him in his place, and that was the right thing to do. But when he decided to involve me, well, I had my own things to say on it. And I was like, well, I might take you more seriously if you stood up more straight. And he was like, what? I was like, you've just done the exact same thing I've done to you as what you just did to her. You don't understand. You don't have any concept of how many times in Laura's life Laura has been approached by male presenting people trying to enforce their standards on a female presenting person. I was like, I was only just giving a compliment. It's like, yeah, but you're not the only fucking person to ever say something like that to a female presenting person. They live in an existence. They live an entire life with unrealistic standards placed upon them and male expectations, the male gaze placed upon them. And he's like, no, I don't understand it. And I was like, okay, well, listen, I'm going to take my time. And again, I was very patient, smiling the entire time, because my form of education can be very placid but very pointed. And so I took him through the concept of male gaze. I took him through the concept of, unrealistic standards, and I made it about him. I started passing comments on him, making remarks about him, and asking him how he felt every time I did it. And eventually he got to the point. I was like, I'd take you more seriously if you were taller. He was like 5 foot something. So he was a short enough guy anyway. He's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. And I was like, yeah. Unrealistic standards. Unrealistic perceptions. The entitlement that we feel, especially as male presenting people. If you're a male presenting person out here and you have ever kind of passed comment on someone unsolicitedly, then you've done this. And I have done it too. I'm not fucking perfect here. Hands up 100%. I have made past remarkable comments to people thinking I was giving them a compliment because I didn't know better at the time. But as we always say here in the Irish Pagan School and at Live at 5, when you know better, just do better. So I'm not looking for you to slide into the comments here and pass a remark on my form. That's not what this is about. I'm not looking for you to, anything other than to consider what you're doing and the impact what you're doing. Because either you're helping people out and boosting them up, or you're tearing them down and, taking up more space than you should. Now, okay, sorry, that was a little bit disingenuous. Everyone is entitled to take up the space that they should take up. Everyone's entitled to, respect and healthy boundaries and, to live their life to their fullest, 100%. That everyone fucking should. But not everyone, we are not individuals in this existence. We are people who are part of families. We're families who are part of communities. We're communities who are part of countries. We're countries who are part of continents. We're continents who are part of a world. We are a one singular species. So if we're not helping each other out, then we're tearing each other down. If we're not lifting us all up collectively, then we're just keeping ourselves down and we're never going to get anywhere collectively. Now, I feel like I'm losing the run of my rant. And I said at the start that it was a rant. If you're still here, thank you for enjoying the rant, or I don't even know if you enjoyed the rant. But thank you for hearing the words maybe. Maybe there's something here that makes sense. Maybe you're a female presenting person who has existed their entire life trying to live up to unrealistic beauty standards. Maybe you're a trans person, either which way, trying to figure out how you can, embody your own self within the paradigm of these unrealistic standards. Because again, they apply to males too. All of this kind of, well, if you don't have a beard, you're not a man. Fuck off. My ability to grow facial hair is nothing got to do with my masculinity. It's a personal fucking choice. Anyway. It is rough. It is difficult. It's messy being human. It just is. But why not help out other humans? Why not kind of break down some of the stuff that doesn't suit us, doesn't help us, doesn't improve life for us? Why don't we get it over ourselves and be more compassionate towards other people? I don't know is the answer, but I can hope. I can hope that we will improve, and I can hope that we can get there. And if you are someone who wants to make a past remarkable comment, think twice. You might think you're giving a compliment, but read it again before you post it. Think about it. Especially if you're commenting on people's forums. Judge me by my work, not by my appearance. With my overcrowded teeth, my overbite, my dodgy eyes and needed glasses, I know exactly what I look like. I give myself a hard time over my personal appearance because of my self-esteem issues. I'm not looking for compliments either. Just clarify, this isn't a fish for compliments. Talk about what we do for each other, not how we look to each other. And maybe we can improve. So again, thank you for joining us here. Thank you for joining my rant. I have been invited to rant. This isn't coming out of nowhere. People in the comments have said, I would love to hear John rant on something. And if you think there's something that you'd love to hear John rant on, if there's something that you're like, I'd love John's opinion on, throw it in the comments. Throw it down there. I'd love John. John, what is your opinion on this? Who knows? I might turn into my next video. Until next video anyway, until whenever I talk to you again, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and remember, help each other out. Because fuck's sake, how are we going to get anywhere if we don't? All the best from us to you. Slán. Goodbye.